My name is Cynthia Alexander. I teach at Cerritos College. I'm the department chair for educational technology. And I'm going to talk about my program. Just warning you, it is about my program. And I've called this Learn and Earn because many faculty in California, community college faculty, have taken my courses throughout the state and have had their schools agree to give them advancements on the salary scale so that they can earn more money. So that's why I called it Learn and Earn. Almost all of the courses in the program are CSU transferable, and so that's why usually the schools agree to give the salary advancement, is because they are CSU transferable courses. Okay, so how many of you really want to advance over on that salary scale? Come on, we all do. Unless you're all the way over, okay? Or adjuncts, unfortunately, it doesn't usually work, but it will help when you get your full-time position, because then how many ever extra units you have will bring you in higher on the salary scale. So even if you're an adjunct, it is something that could help you sooner or later.
I was under the impression that it has to be units that have like bachelor level or
No. Okay, I'm sorry. She said that she was under the impression that the units or the courses had to be higher or master's degree level past the bachelor's degree. And that's up to your school. That's why I do say you need to check with your school. I've had faculty from Imperial Valley College, what is it? IVC? Yeah, IVC. I've had Palomar. I've had some faculty from Palomar. I've had faculty up in San Francisco, and I had a faculty up at College of Siskiyou. And all of those places, I don't remember specifically what school it was in San Francisco, which school it was, but all of those, their Human Resources Department told them that they could take these courses for salary advancement. And they took many of them up to the point that they couldn't advance anymore, so with those kinds of units. So anyway, so if you said yes, most of you did, if you said yes, then sometimes what you say is, okay, yes, I want to, but I don't have time. I don't have time to take a class. Well, the ETT classes, all but one, is online. You're not required to come on our campus at all, not for orientation, not even to register. Everything is done online. So I don't have time kind of gets diminished a little bit there, right? Because, well, it's online. I don't have to travel to another campus. Also, all of the projects that you do in the courses are available to you for at least 2 weeks. So you have a 2-week period to do the work. So I've made my courses such to try to accommodate people with varying schedules. Okay, I do want to tell you what the mission statement is for the ETT program. And I'm going to read it. Not that I say you don't know how to read. That's one of the things I hate about people who put PowerPoints up and then read them in PowerPoint. I am going to read this. The mission of the Cerritos College Educational Technology Program is to demystify the use of technology and help educators create and deliver technologically innovative programs and curriculums to a diverse student population. What this means is my courses are for educators. My courses are for teachers and future teachers. And that's from kindergarten, teaching kindergarten, preschool if you want, up through community college and higher. It's integrating technology into your teaching. It's taking current technologies and saying, gee, how can I apply this to make my courses more interesting to the students who are now in my courses? Okay, so these courses are for you. Got it? Okay. So let me tell you a little bit about the ETT program. It's there to help increase knowledge of computer-based learning tools, build self-confidence in the use of technology in the classroom, and invent new ways to deliver instruction. We have approximately 20 plus courses for you to choose from. The program is being almost entirely rewritten. Almost every course is going back to curriculum in August for some reason or another. Many of them are to change the titles, which you'll see as I'm going to go through some of these class names and what they teach. They change the titles to reflect current technology and what's going on now. Some of them are to change things such as repeatability, to change the course descriptions. Again, the course descriptions to add in some of the technologies that I have started putting in that aren't in the description. I need to get my course description caught up with what I'm actually teaching in the courses. Again, I said they can be completed during the week, but you do have 2 to 2.5 weeks for everything. So if you can't complete it that week, you can get it done usually the next week. Most of the courses, almost all, are CSU transferable, and again, they may qualify for salary credit. Okay, something of note is that Cerritos College offers we're the only of 112 community colleges to offer a certificate in educational technology. That certificate exists at the Chancellor's office, but we're the only one that offers a certificate in ed tech. It's an 18-unit certificate. Chancellor's office approved. It was approved in 1999, along with 2 other certificates, one of which is being revised, and we'll be starting to offer that again after it goes through the curriculum process in August. I put down the top code just so you can see, and it's designed as an in-service or pre-service certificate for public school teachers and assistants. Okay, let me show you some of the classes. These are the only non-transferable. They apply to an AA degree, but they're non-transferable. We have a preparation for online learning, which really doesn't necessarily have to belong in the educational technology program because it's for all students, getting them ready. You know, it's the typical, you know, are you ready for online learning? Do you have self-motivation? That kind of thing. It's a 1-unit class, and it does include a very big section. Again, it was entirely rewritten a year ago. It includes a section on how to use the course management system, or LMS. Email for educators. This is my baby. I just rewrote it. It hadn't been taught for 7 years, 8 years. I mean, it's called Email for Educators. Yeah. And I looked at it and I said, I'm going to dump it because I'm dumping a lot of classes. And I said, I'm going to dump this one, deactivate it. I said, wait a minute. You know, email, you know, that article that was in the Chronicle, email is for old people. Okay, email is there. We still use email, but how can we communicate with our students other than email? You know, students want texting. Well, I text my students. In fact, I give my students in my face-to-face class the very first night my cell phone number. I say, you text me. You know, if you want to call me, but nobody ever calls me. But they text me. My students text me from several semesters ago and ask me questions. You know, do I have recommendations for what they should take, such and such school? And no, well, why don't you try this or go see a counselor? No. Anyway, so my students still do that. And what's nice about texting, they're not interrupting me at midnight, where a phone call they might. And I haven't had anybody abuse it. And I've been doing that for 6 years, I think, giving my cell phone number out. But I said, okay, so we have texting. Isn't discussions communicating with your students? Isn't it? Yeah. So then let's look at what makes a good discussion. Okay? And the interesting thing I think about that, because as I was introducing all these concepts of communicating with your students, I said, now, what kind of things, what kind of projects are they going to do for me? Because I'm not a tester. I don't give tests. I give a syllabus quiz to make sure that they're looking at the most pertinent things on the syllabus that I want them to look at, and at least do those parts, even if they don't read any more of the syllabus. Other than that, I'm not a tester. It's project-based. My courses are project-based. So I said, what can I do? So I said, you know what? They're reading about what makes an effective discussion. Why not, for an assignment, have them write a discussion on the lecture materials of how to create a good discussion? And again, I just taught this, and it was very successful. I was really happy. I did have 3 community college instructors taking the course, and they said, I never thought of that. And I had to make a rubric, a grading rubric to go along. And then, of course, I had a rubric telling them what I expected from them to get full credit for the assignment. So I modeled what I wanted them to do. And for any of the classes that I'm revamping, I do have rubrics for everything, telling them, even for the discussions, there's a grading rubric. So that was an interesting project, because I was, what can I have them do? What can I have them do? Create their own discussion. We went into Google Hangouts. I had them look at webinars. They used VoiceThread. They used Vokies to create announcements. I had them use as many of the Web 2.0 tools that I could think of to use as communications tools for students, for them to do with their students. And those were the projects. They created an announcement using a Voki for a class. Whether they had a class or didn't have a class, it had to be an announcement for a class. So this was really fun. I just revamped it, and it's going to be named Communicating with Students Online. Not communicating with online students, communicating with students online, because these tools can be used in a face-to-face class. So this didn't have to be for online students. By the way, I was having a hard time coming up with the new name. So what I did for the last assignment, I said, come up with a name for this course. And I started the course with an introduction, a YouTube video, which was captioned, and just telling them how the classes changed, so that if they were expecting what was in the catalog, maybe they wanted to drop, because it was not going to be what the catalog description was. And one of the projects they had to do was create an introductory video, edit it, add in sound, narrate it, and closed caption it as an announcement or as an introduction of themselves to their students. So again, any way I could think of having them use free communications tools on the internet to communicate with students. So I was quite proud of it. I have ETT67. It is using inspiration. And the problem with this class, why I wanted to rename it, it's not really being changed too much. I wanted to rename it because people looked at inspiration presentations and thought it was making inspiring presentations using PowerPoint. And so the problem is that Inspiration is the name of the software program, and their output is a presentation. And it really is a mind mapping tool. So I said, you know what, I think I'm changing the title of this because I'm getting too many students in going, what's this inspiration presentations? Is this a Christian class? No. So I said, you know what, and there's some free mind mapping tools out there on the internet. So I said, I'm just going to change it to using mind mapping tools. And inspiration will be the primary tool we'll look at. But at the same time, we'll look at some of the other free mind mapping tools that are out there on the internet and have students do a couple of projects with those. KidPix. That one you probably would not be interested in. KidPix is sort of a paint program for K-5, not even really K-6. I do address K-12 and K-5 teachers. So this is really a course for them. Or if you have children. And also, we're upgrading to the new KidPix, which creates 3D animations. So it might be something you might be interested in because it's actually a cool little program, especially the latest revision to it. But it's a lower division, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so here's my transferable courses, and many of them are exactly what they say. The integration of the internet into the curriculum, this really looks at information literacy. And I have a lot of students come in saying, oh, I surf the internet all the time. I know all there is about the internet. This is going to be an easy class. Of course, not everybody, many students think that if it's on an online class, it's going to be easier anyway. No. But the integration of the internet into the curriculum course, we look at authenticity of search results. We look at, how to create an effective search tool, website evaluation tool, other evaluation tools. Yes? No, I'm going to get to that at the end, but all of my courses, in addition to being fully online, all materials are provided to you fully online. My courses have no EDT course has a textbook. It's all open education resources, which again I'm going to cover on my last slide, I believe it is, but that you realize what that means. If I've made my courses all open education resources, actually you can ask me for the course because I've put it CC Commons at the lowest. Yes, you can have my course and teach it at your own school. Right. No, there really isn't. And maybe to the UC courses. I say these are CSU. Julia's question was, isn't there some problem with transferability to the UC schools? And I said no, but actually it's up in the air about that. But I don't say mine are UC transferable. I say they're CSU transferable. Okay, and there's no problem with that. Okay, next one, creating curriculum projects using the Internet 101. They actually create PBL, project-based learning projects, to use in your classroom. And that's fairly open-end. So it's whatever you're teaching, you create a project to be used in your own course. And it's a planning process. You go through in steps until at the end of the 9 weeks. These are all 9 weeks courses. At the end of the 9 weeks, you actually have a project-based or problem-based learning project to use in your own course. Okay. 103, it's called Spreadsheets for Educators because my original intent was to make it generic. However, Microsoft loves to come out every year or 2 years with a new version, and so I haven't had time to go out and write instructions for all of the spreadsheet programs out there. So really, it's an Excel class. And the students create, again, projects to be used in their teaching. So next, 104, which is word processing for educators, same thing. It's really Microsoft Word. To do the project, you must have Microsoft Word. Now, I give instructions For version 2003, still, there's many. 2004 for the Mac, still, there are a few. 2007 and 2008, again, were Windows and Mac. 2010 and 2011, so you go through and you choose which version of the software you have, and you follow those instructions to complete the projects. 105, I was afraid people wouldn't know what presentations were, so I called it PowerPoint, and it's a PowerPoint class. Same thing with all these. It's not in the course description, okay, but it is on the website saying you must have Microsoft Word for this. You must have Microsoft Excel for this. So it is on the website. It's not in the course description. I really hope someday Microsoft gets tired of upgrading. Right. I'm behind a little bit on 2013. I'm hoping to have the 2013 instructions done by fall. It won't be done for my summer school classes that start a week from now. But hopefully they'll stop for a little bit, and I can go out and use the open source, so open office instructions and start creating some for others. So I don't really want to change the description here, because my hope is soon that I can get the instructions written for some of the other software. Nope, 6 weeks. So I have, normally in the summer, I only offer the 3 Microsoft courses, the 103, 104, and 105. Okay, 106. It was called Access for Educators. Used to, it wasn't a big deal, but more and more and more and more of my students are getting Macs. And Access does not run on a Mac. So I said, okay, since I'm getting so many students with Macintosh computers that can't take the course because it's called Access, what I'm going to do is change it to Databases for Educators. And it probably won't be taught until fall 2014, and it will encompass a database program that can be used on a Mac, so that I can get my Mac users in on that. Desktop publishing for educators, obviously it is what it is. Photoshop Elements, and Photoshop Elements, not Photoshop. Photoshop, if you want to take Photoshop, go over to our Fine Arts department. But for Photoshop Elements, which is the scaled down version that has an educator discount, and you can also do some Photoshop Elements online for free, is what this course is about. 109 was called Developing Campus-Based Portfolio, and I'm going to change that instead of campus-based to education-based. Initially, it was written to cover the 2 e-portfolio programs that we have on our campus. And I said, you know what, Mahara is a great one. There's a couple of other e-portfolio systems that are really good. I'm going to change it so that it's not just our campus-based, but more generic to cover several of the e-portfolio programs. So, you use what? So a lot of people, in fact, I've had people ask me, oh, when I take your course, do I come out with a portfolio? Well, not exactly. You come out with materials, projects that you've completed, but they're not put together in a portfolio. If you took this class, you could put them all into the portfolio to have a portfolio. So, but you can see why I'm changing some of these names. Some of these names need to be changed to reflect that. 110, ETT 110 is my only face-to-face class. I have taught it as a hybrid. I don't like doing so. It is one that is not just transferable to the CSU. It is the equivalent of their course in their teacher training at Cal State, at least Long Beach, Dominguez Hills, and I believe Cal State LA. I'm sorry? Oh, no, it does. This is the one they offer. And you take ours through our, and it is equivalent to theirs, except it's not equivalent because theirs are 1 unit. This is a 2-unit class, and it covers so much more. For those of you who know David Wiley or have heard of him, he is considered like a guru in education. This is being taped, so if he sees this, he'll say, oh, thank you, Cynthia. I did pay her. No, he didn't pay me. But he took a look at my course, just at my ETT 110 course, and he said, oh my gosh, this is an introduction to ed tech. He says, we teach that at BYU in my area, and we don't cover this. And I said, how many units is your course? He said, 1. And I said, right, mine's 2. And so we do cover a lot more. It really was a massive overhaul a little over a year ago. We do so many things in this course that is really non-traditional. We do flipped classroom to an extent in there. We cover at least 10 different Web 2.0 tools where the students, rather than just do something in Word and turn it in, they do something on a Web 2.0 tool. I have them, for those people who love turn it in, I have them create an Animoto project where they look at the copyright, and one of the projects in the copyright assignment is to consider whether being forced to turn their assignment in through Turnitin is a violation of their copyright. And I do give them reference to the actual court case, by the way, that there was an actual court case on this. It was decided in favor of Turnitin, but I let them look at that. The students pair up, one takes the pro, one takes the con, and they do it all through Animoto, a cartoon. And they argue, this is the reason, rebuttal, concluding statement, we all know that. They do that, they have a ball. They do this, by the way, overnight, because it's a 9-week course. I assign it on Monday, it's due on Wednesday. So they have 1 day to work on it. I run around showing the videos to people, they're so good. The students just love that. I do so many projects in this class like that I actually feel it's not applicable to an online class. So that's the only one I do not teach fully online. Okay. 111, web design. I don't teach you how to use Dreamweaver or whatever. All you do in this is you do build a course using free web building tools, and I just guide you through it. Again, it's like the project-based learning course. You start out by thinking about it. You look at good websites, bad websites, and you start going through. By the way, something I haven't mentioned is most of the classes I do incorporate a lot of 508 compliance, so accessibility. So they must make their website, their finishing website must be accessible, or they lose. It actually will go down a whole grade. So they can have an A all the way through. If it's not fully accessible, they get B. So I did want to bring that out, that the accessibility issue is something that I really push in all the classes. 112. This is our only 3-unit class. You may be interested to know, other than this one class, all of the ETT courses are 1 or 2 units. So this one is 3 units. We did not teach it in a 9-week session. We taught it in an 18-week session. And the students in this class, and again, there were 4 instructors from Cerritos College taking this, and I believe it wasn't taught by me, it was taught by another instructor in the program, and I think she said there were 5 of K-12 instructors taking it. And they went through and they created curriculum. Basically, it was a virtual field trip, and they created it, put it on the web, and that was the course. It was offered over 18 weeks, so we felt that complying with the Carnegie unit for the amount of homework they would have had to do, in addition to the 6 hours a week it would have entailed for a 9-week course, was too much. So it would have been 6 units for a 9-week, 6 hours, and then an additional 12 hours of homework to make one class 18 hours a week. We felt that was a little too much, so we made it into an 18. Exploring assistive technology. That's exactly what it is. We look at that website I told you back there, to look at the webaim.org. We have them looking at some of those things to start realizing what are your students going through, and then what can you do to help students. So it was actually proposed by our technology person in our Disabled Student Services program. He came to me 11 years ago and said, "You need to write a course." And I said, "I need to write a course? You need to write a course on assistive technology." I said, "What's assistive technology?" And so he sat down with me. I went to his home, ate dinner with he and his parents many nights, and we pounded out what we needed to do. We took it to our curriculum committee. They said, "This sounds great, go for it." And I teach it once a year, and it's usually full. It should be full massively by all teachers, by all instructors, to make sure that they're getting that 508 compliance in their course. But I'm sorry? Yes, so you don't get sued. Your schools don't get sued. Okay, the next one was written years ago. You can tell by the title, Using Handheld Computers in Education. Okay, I said, okay, that one's gone. It's deactivated. And then I said, you know what, though? We need a course on using mobile technology. So why not just take this? I looked at the course description, and if I just tweak a few words here and there, it fit. I looked at the course objectives, again, tweaking that word from handheld computers to mobile technology. It fit. I said, hey, let's go with it. So that is going to be changed to using mobile technologies in education. And again, it's going to be looking at the different mobile technologies and how can we use those and integrate them into our teaching to capture those students that say, oh, this is boring. All teachers don't know anything about technology. I love that one. All of my teachers are boring. I go, what? I'm boring? Wait a minute, how can you tell me I'm, no, well, not you. But wait, you said all of your teachers are boring. None of your teachers know technology. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll build a computer from scratch, you do it. And, well, I didn't mean you. I love that. Okay. The next one, fundamentals of grant writing, fundraising grant writing for educators. That's actually taught by our grant writer, and you write a grant. Okay. Okay, Vicki said that she took the course, and from the grant that she wrote for that course, she actually got a $95,000 grant. So it is taught by our grant writer. We offer it once a year. Again, fall, it's going to be offered. And so 9-week session, you write a grant. You may get money. Internet tools for educators. Internet tools for educators. That course was written by another instructor in my program, and this is taught usually 3 times in a year because again 9-week sessions. So she usually teaches that 2 semesters back to back, and then in the next semester she only teaches it once. She rewrites it every single time. The tools keep changing. Yes, Vicki. So unfortunately, it's not repeatable, but it's very current. It's very current. It's being offered this fall. She won't start writing it until fall starts because it's our second 9-week session. So again, to make sure they're free, so as many of you may have noticed that you go out and something is free on the internet, some Web 2.0 tool is free, the next time you go back, it's not. She makes sure that they're free, and she shows you how to integrate it into your teaching. So that one is, I can't tell you too much about it because every single time it's different. Fundamentals of Online Teaching. That particular course is something that our instructors at Cerritos College can take to become qualified to teach online. I do have a lot of K-12 teachers taking that course also because they think they want to teach online. Some of them say after taking it, no, I don't want to teach online, because they actually build one module for an online course. And they see that it's not something you sit down and just take what you do in your face-to-face course and throw it in, that you need to embellish, you need to do this. There's a lot of things you need to do. You need to think about accessibility even more than in a face-to-face class because it's web and online, and you have to make sure that you're 508, 504, 508 compliant. Digital music in the classroom. We've had a hard time with the name for this class. We've changed it 3 times. I'm going to leave it alone. Again, Kathy teaches, and she wrote this class. And the students basically learn how to use audio in their classroom. It's not just music. They create narrations. One of the projects is to create a 30-second commercial. And for every second you go over the commercial, you lose points, and over that 30 seconds. Just to show how difficult it is to get information across, and it's same thing if it's I think if it's 27 seconds or under, you lose points. It's got to be 30 seconds. So it's just a kind of a little crazy project that I took the course. I took it, and that I spent more time on that one project, and I had so much fun with it because, as you can tell, I talk quite fast. So I had to have. When I read it, this course is rewritten each time. But when I say it, this course is rewritten each time, and I go, oh, I just did my 30-second slot in 21 seconds. Okay, try it again. And then I went too slow. Okay, I had so much fun with that. It was unbelievable. I love being a movie maker in education. That's being changed. It's going to be called creating videos, and it is going to be based almost entirely on making YouTube videos. So it's not only making YouTube videos, it's editing YouTube videos, it's adding captioning to YouTube videos, it's importing other videos into YouTube videos. It's doing the whole gamut. And so that course is going to be almost entirely YouTube. But we don't want to call it that. That's been my problem with these course names, being too specific. So it's just going to be called Creating Videos. Teaching with clay animation. This is another one that my other faculty person has written. I took it. Fun. You really do create little clay animation. That is so hard. I made an egg because I wasn't good at any of my other clay figures. They were too top-heavy or whatever. So I finally made an egg. This was my final project. And so my egg started out on a coffee cup, and then it was very hard to stick it to the cup as it tried to make it look like it was jumping off the cup. It had little legs, and then I had it type out, hi, welcome to my class. So it was typing these out as I created this, this little animated video using my clay guy. But I didn't use a tripod. And so I sat back and I swore each time I took a picture I was in the exact same spot. But it ended up looking jittery. So at the end, I went back and added on saying, remember, I started on a cup of coffee. I have the jitters because it was like, I had, again, a ball in that class. So it's using clay animation for teaching. This one probably applies more to K-12, but I did have one of the faculty at Cerritos that took the course, and it was, I believe, chemistry. Anyway, they had used the clay animation to, and had their students use clay animation to show some kind of chemical thing happening. I'm not a chemistry person. So it can be used in community college level. Podcasting in education is just what it says. It's creating podcasts. You create podcasts. I do want to say there are 2 other Chancellor's Office approved certificates. Instructional Design. Oh no, I'm sorry. The second one is not up there because we're going to deactivate it, and it had to do with teleconferencing. We have Instructional Multimedia that is being entirely rewritten. The certificate, the courses, there's going to be a few new courses added. This certificate will start next fall in 2014. And I am starting the process for instructional design for online teaching. I'm starting the process for that. So that's a future certificate that I'm very confident we will get through. Okay, and I already said this, but all these EDT courses use open ed resources. There are no textbooks. All materials are online. A few do require software, basically the 3 Microsoft courses, the Excel, Word, and spreadsheet. But all the others are either free software or it's software you can get a free 30-day download. And if you time your assignments correctly, you can actually complete all the assignments using that 30-day free download. So I think that's an advantage. And again, I have on all of my courses that I have written and taught, I make them Creative Commons, so they are available for other people if they want them. Okay, so my question to you is, what's your excuse? If you need that salary advancement, all you need to do is check with your Human Resources Department, and I feel fairly confident that they'll be giving the okay, so you can take them for salary advancement. The other thing is, even if you don't you want to know how to reach your students on their playing field? So, any questions? Yes. We're in 18-week school. We don't have the compressed calendar. We start actually, I know Julia's from Pierce College. We start a little earlier than you. For fall, it's like around the 18th of August. Is it the 19th? I always say about then. They last for 9 weeks, except for the one course, and then immediately in October, we start the second 9 weeks. No. We never were. We almost got there, and then we had the budget crisis, and they said now we have no reason to pursue the flex schedule anymore, so we do 18 weeks. Yes? Mainly, yes. The question was for these courses, do I mainly have community college and K-12 instructors taking the courses? And the answer is mainly. We also offer a teacher track program at Cerritos College, at Teacher Training Academy. So our students, when they complete teacher track, get into the CSU Long Beach teacher education program. They're guaranteed a slot. Okay. So we have many students that are in that program, so they want to be teachers, and even though only one of my courses is required for that program, many of them will take these courses anyway. I also, unfortunately, like I know many of you probably have, maybe not, maybe you're fortunate not to, I have a lot of students that need financial aid, and they're looking for any class, and so they'll, and oh, it's online, so it must be easy. And oh, Word, Word for educators, I know Word. Well, they're usually surprised because I go through advanced Word features that many of them didn't even know existed. And I've had that from a lot of faculty that have come back and said, I thought I knew everything there was in Word, and I didn't. You taught me so much. So I do have some students that are just taking it because they're taking it. Okay. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you.